Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our occurrence this afternoon, as artist Lou Achenbach likes to call these. It's an occurrence of music and art, and Dennis, my partner, Dennis Moore, and I are just so thrilled to have all of you with us, able to share a little bit of time together on this Sunday afternoon of what has been the culmination of a momentous week and weekend. Um, it's a new day. It's a new um, era that is soon to begin, and it's a good time for all of us to think about um, relaxing into the new space that we're in. And accordingly, we are thrilled to bring to you this afternoon a really special program of pieces near and dear to our hearts, all by French composers, but in many different styles and moods. And we will be announcing the pieces that we're going to be playing as we go along. But I want to extend a special thank you to Dennis, my partner, for putting up with me in general, and in particular agreeing to sit here at the piano. Unfortunately, largely mute this afternoon because he is recovering from what has been a very long and nasty cold. We're very thankful it's not COVID, but he is battling a cold and is persisting nonetheless, and will be doing his level best at the keyboard to partner with me musically this afternoon. I'm going to let our painter friend, our visionary artist friend, Luke Achenbach, say a few words about himself and where he is this afternoon and how he'll be collaborating with us. Lou, would you like to say a few things?
Of course. I would just like to say how thrilled I am to be working again with Sarah Sue Jones and Dennis Moore. We have, I would say, we've built a fruitful relationship over the last few years
Yes.
um, on a purely artistic scope to begin with, and then from that, a personal one after that also, which is just a wonderful thing in these times and any time really. Just humans being humans and enjoying each other's company. It's about fellowship and art. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn it over to Sarah Sue and Dennis. I'm going to mute myself so that you can just hear the music like I am. And I'm going to put the music right back here. Thank you.
Thanks, Lou. The first piece we'll be playing for you this afternoon is a really well known one. It is by the French composer Jules Massenet. It's from his opera, Thais, from 1893, 1894. And this short work is called Meditation. It is an instrumental interlude in the middle of the opera when the main character, Thais, is on the cusp of a decision about whether to dedicate her life to God and turn away from worldly things, worldly love. And it's marked Andante Religioso. It is performed as a violin solo by the concertmaster of the opera orchestra in the pit. The spotlight shines on the soloist, and we all listen as the violin depicts this transition, this momentous transition in the life of Thais from worldly things to the divine. That has been one of my favorite pieces to play ever since I learned it many years ago. And it has special significance to me, even more special than before, because earlier in the pandemic, the um, mother of one of my dear friends was um, passing away from COVID, and she was alone. And I was able to call her up and play this for her in those final couple of days, and I'm very, very grateful. And it's just it means so much more to me now. And I think of her, and I think of others who have passed before us, both during this pandemic and before. Um, when I play this piece, and it's the stairway to heaven, if you will. Um, the next piece on our program is one that we've actually never performed for an audience before, Dennis and I, but we are beyond excited to share it with you this afternoon. It is a piece by the French composer Gabriel Fauré. It was originally, he wrote it originally as a song for voice. My French is terrible. I actually don't know any French, so please forgive my mispronunciation of French at various points this afternoon. The name of the piece is Le Berceau, which translates as Le. Oh, thank you. Le Berceau, which translates as the cradles. And it's such, you know, all music is fundamentally singing, right? The human voice is the instrument that all good musicians, instrumentalists strive to emulate when they're making music. And so it should come as no surprise that we instrumentalists, when we find a really good song that was written for voice, we love to be able to sing it for ourselves on our instruments and try to mimic the human voice in all of its myriad glory and colors as best we can. So this is a piece that was set to a poem by the French poet Sully, I can't pronounce his name, Prudhomme.
Prudhomme.
Prudhomme, thank you. And I'd like to read for you the English translation of the words of the poem. Along the quay, the great ships that the sea swells tilt in silence take no notice of the cradles rocked by the hands of women. But the day of parting will come because women must weep and curious men must be tempted toward horizons that will delude them. And that day, the great ships fleeing from the port that grows small will feel their mass restrained by the soul of distant cradles. Isn't that just gorgeous? Um, French music is known for its colors. I don't actually even have the words to try to explain. I probably shouldn't even try to explain what we mean by colors in music, but this is one of the reasons I'm so pleased that we're playing this particular program for our collaboration with Lou today, because Lou does color, as you can see, form and color. I was so excited when he was starting off with his blank canvas. I was very excited to see what colors he was going to come up with. And I love what you have there, Lou. It is actually inspiring me. I think this is kind of a lovely symbiosis. So I'm seeing your canvas as I'm playing, and it is giving me fresh thoughts and fresh feelings about where I want to go in the music, which is really wonderful. Um, thank you. Uh, the next piece on our program is also a piece that Dennis and I have never performed before for an audience. And this is an undiscovered one of the undiscovered gems that are part of the output of a French composer named Mel Bonis. Mel Bonis. Man? Woman? Well, she was a woman, and her full name was Melanie. Again, I excuse my French pronunciation or lack thereof. Melanie Helene Bonis. But when she was born in 1858, the world was not a very hospitable place for women who wanted to do certain kinds of things, including composing music. She was born into a lower middle class Parisian family. There was no one in her family who was involved whatsoever in music. She taught herself the piano. She felt from a young age this incredible musically creative urge, and she taught herself the piano. And by the time she was 16, she was so accomplished that a family friend introduced her to the great César Franck, the composer, who was then a professor at the Paris Conservatory. And she was immediately accepted as a student. She shared the benches at the conservatory with fellow students, including Claude Debussy, one of whose works we will perform later this afternoon, and Gabriel Piernet, another well known composer. She actually won several prizes for harmony and accompaniment during her time at the conservatory. But it was her fate that she also met. What she also did during her time at the conservatory was she happened to meet a fellow student named Amédée Hetig, and they fell in love, deeply, deeply in love. He was a poet and a singer, and they both inspired each other musically. And Bonis's parents were horrified by the idea that she might marry a not rich poet and singer, and they quickly arranged a marriage for her to a gentleman by the name of Albert Domange, who was 25 years older than she was, a widower with 5 sons. So she married him, threw herself into domesticity and managing his multiple um, mansions and estates, bore him 3 children, put music aside during that period of time, and then came back to music. The urge was so strong in her. She came back to music. She met Hetik again, and he introduced her to the publisher who would end up publishing much of what she wrote. And there's more to her life story. Suffice it to say that she was a woman, on the one hand, of faith and duty, and on the other hand, of great, great passion and unbridled musical creativity. She has a really unique compositional voice. It is very French, um, but it is not Debussy and it is not Franck. It is really her own. And one of the great joys for me during this period, when we all have perhaps more time on our hands for certain things than we did previously, has been to discover what I previously did not know about. And discovering the works of Mel Bonis has been a highlight for me. This is the first of a set of 3 pieces, short pieces she wrote for violin and piano. The first piece, which we'll play for you, is called It's just labeled Andante Religioso. So the same marking as the meditation from Thais, but this is Melbournese's take on what a prayer might sound like. I'm really looking forward to learning the second and third pieces in the set and being able to perform all of them for you one of these days. Um, we turn from Mel Bonis to another woman composer um, named Lily Boulanger. She had a tragically short life. She was a prodigious talent. Unlike Mel Bonis, she came from a family um, with many talented professional musicians within their ranks. And these days, her older sister, Nadia Boulanger, the name of Nadia Boulanger is better known than that of Lily Boulanger. But Lily Boulanger has started to enjoy a resurgence in popularity. More of her works are being performed these days. And one of a set of two pieces she wrote for violin and piano is called Nocturne. This was composed in 1911. Um, this was several years before she passed away at the age of 24 from an intestinal illness that had actually plagued her for much of her life. But she had an incredibly impressive output like that of Mel Bonis. Mel Bonis composed over 300 works. Lily Boulanger did not live nearly as long, but still composed quite a variety of works. And we're just very happy to have the opportunity to play the Nocturne for you this afternoon. I will be thinking as we play this of our friends in Iceland who are watching, where I believe it is coming up to 10 p.m. So this Nocturne with the Icelandic night in mind by Lily Boulanger. Thank you. I just love what you've got there on your canvas, Lou. It's gorgeous. And I feel like we're kind of moving in sync toward the finished product.
We are.
So the final piece on our program this afternoon is by Claude Debussy, the composer who was sitting side by side with Mel Bonis in those classes at the Paris Conservatory. He too was a prodigious talent and incredibly musically mature at a very young age. We are borrowing from the vocal repertoire once again. So this is a song called Beau Soir that he composed around 1877, 1878, when he was 15, 16 years old. And what I find extraordinary about this work is that if you imagine a 15 or 16-year-old young man looking around for poems that he would like to set to music, can you imagine at that age coming across a poem by Paul Bourget that reads as follows? When streams turn pink in the setting sun, and a slight shudder rushes through the wheat fields, a plea for happiness seems to rise out of all things, and it climbs up towards the troubled heart. A plea to relish the charm of life while there is youth and the evening is fair. For we pass away as the wave passes. The wave to the sea, we to the grave. What a sunset that is. Thank you, Lou. Bravo to you. Look at what you have
So much.
created.
Sarah and Dennis,
Dennis,
how much
I
I needed
needed
this.
this.
We needed this just as much. It's so wonderful to collaborate. And, the arts are so often siloed. I mean, you're just doing music or you're just doing art or you're just doing, right? Yes. And it's so wonderful to come together. And I really feel like we created something together this afternoon. It's wonderful. I'm excited for what I know will be our future collaborations. This is just too much fun to not keep doing it. So we will do this for sure. Do you have any closing thoughts, Lou?
Well, it could be that I wish was not close. We just collaborating.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes,
I most like listen to this again, and maybe or maybe
the
tell me that I don't know. That's part.
Mm-hmm. So, Lou, here's a question for you. It's an interesting question as to, I mean, what you're doing on Canvas is, you're capturing visually what you're hearing, right? And your paintbrush keeps going for as long as we're continuing to make music, right? And so I suppose that there's not really a clear, the definition of when your canvas is done is technically, I guess, when we've stopped making music, which is at the moment, this moment. But I wonder if, as an artist, when you look at, if you take a step back and look at what you've created so far, is your sense of what's finished, it's finished when the music stops? Or do you have a sense of there's a little more I want to say on this canvas? And, you know, how does that work for you?
There's always
I would like,
but I need to
I need to
pay attention to the canvas,
Mm-hmm.
and oftentimes tell me when to stop.
Mm-hmm.
Almost like a child will just keep it.
Right.
It's the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But don't know,
which means
you're on bond.
Mm-hmm.
When the painting's done, I have to pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a way of making honest, true, or collaborate.
Right.
And into my world. So it's kind of our trice walking around marble making it's right.
Mm-hmm. So, if I'm hearing you correctly, um, with respect to this particular canvas, does this particular one at the moment feel done to you? Or does it feel like, oh, it needs a wee bit more, and wouldn't it be nice if Sarasu and Dennis played one more piece or did a little reprise of one of the pieces that we did earlier?
Honestly, I reprise.
You would go for a reprise?
I could, yeah.
Okay, well, let me
What
see
would you
if
like to hear again?
could we do the foray again? What do you think?
Sure.
Yeah? That would be a lovely note to end on. I mean, I love ending on Beau Soir. As I said, it's the world's most gorgeous sunset there. But the Forêt Le Berceau is just Le Berceau, sorry. Les Berceaux. Thank you. It's just so gorgeous. This is the second piece that we played, the one about the cradles and the men in the ships, and feeling the pull back to the cradles whence they came. And so, okay. Great. We will reprise this one as a final piece for the afternoon. Bravo to you, Lou.
That was it.
And the canvas feels complete.
That's what she wanted. That last breath, I got the yes.
Wonderful. Let's all admire what Lou has created. It's just gorgeous. Dennis, come over, have a look.
Yeah, take a look. Very nice.
I feel like here I'm going to be, mixing metaphors or something, but I feel like that's my new theme song, if that makes any sense whatsoever. That just feels very us and very what we played this afternoon, and it's perfect. I don't know how you do what you do, Lou. It's kind of magic to me, and I just feel very grateful to be part of what I feel is a little bit of magic on Sunday afternoon.
Well, thank you, sir. It's really a magic in a very ancient sense.
Mm-hmm.
And the carpet needs restoration.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, I'm just so thank you for giving me wing and allowing me to turn it into something potentially beautiful and
Thank you. It's so wonderful, and we can't wait to do this again.
yes.
So until next time, to be continued.
Goodbye, everybody.
Good afternoon. Bye.
Thank you.